All right, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. My name is Francis O'Rourke, and I'm here with for the last and final day of the RSN Spring Conferences presented by WPI. I'm extremely honored and excited to be here with 5 of the Woodie Flowers Award recipients from the last several years. They're here today to talk about why the Woodie Flowers Award is important and to also answer questions from everybody here in the chat. So if you've got a question for these folks, whether it's now, whether it's as they're presenting their presentation or later on, at any point, you can just send it in with the command !Q followed by your question into the Twitch chat. We'll pick those questions up and we'll answer them live on the air. So we've got a lot of great people here. So Andy, why don't you go ahead and start off by introducing yourself?
So, hey, ladies first. So Kyle, why don't you go first?
I like that better. All right.
Hi, I'm Kyle Hughes from Clarkston, Michigan with Team 27. And I was I won the award back in the year 2000, and I'm the team leader, and I'm a math teacher at Clarkston High. And I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Andy?
Hello, I'm Andy Baker. I won the Flowers Award in 2003. I've been a first mentor since. I'm currently on Team 3940, Cybertooth, and I am president and owner of Andy Mark.
Fredi
Lajvardi from Phoenix, Arizona. I started mentoring in 2001 and was with Falcon Robotics, Carl Hayden High School, and won the WFFA in 2013. I'm currently working for the Si Se Puede Foundation in charge of their STEM initiatives, and I work with an all-women collegiate underwater autonomous robotics team.
Oh, wow.
Cool. I'm Eric Stokely. I've been doing this since 1999. I won the Woodie Flowers finalist in 2007, and then in 2016, I was honored with the Woodie Flowers Award. I am currently with Team 5295 out of Shelton, which is where I'm also teaching. And just, first is in my blood.
I'm Allen Gregory. I started my FRC career in 2003 as a high school student on Team 647. I then helped start Team 2587, the Disco Bots, while I was in college and mentored them for 4 years. And now I am the head coach for 3847 Spectrum, and I've been with them for 9 years. And I won the Woodie Flowers Award last year in 2019.
All right. Well, everybody, I'm so happy that you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of really cool and interesting stuff. So why don't you guys take it away, and we'll go over start going over the presentation here.
Thanks, Francis.
Thank you. So we're here today to talk about why teams should nominate mentors for the Woodie Flowers Award and what they should focus on. But we felt that before we even get started, you need to know a little bit about where the award came from. And back in 1996, Dr. William Murphy was talking with Dean Kamen, and he met Woodie Flowers, and he kept seeing him present. And what astounded him was everywhere he presented, he was a dynamic speaker. He captivated the audience, and students listened. And Dr. Murphy thought that was so amazing. He was so articulate and so clear with his descriptions and his thoughts, and that Dr. Murphy went to Dean and said, we're going to have an award, and we're going to call it the Woodie Flowers Award, and we're going to name it after this incredible man. And since then, it's an amazing award. I will never forget when I won it in 2000. It was just beyond my wildest dreams to have won it, especially against some of the other names of the people that I saw who were also running for this award. But the award is written by the students, and the students have to be very concise in their own writing, which is what the award is about the wonderful attributes of their mentors. And so we're going to talk more today about that. But before we move on, we want to share Woodie in his own words with a video. Here's the good stuff.
Objective truth is a big deal. More than ever, We have access to objective truth, but respect it too little. I can, for example, ask my watch, what's the distance to the sun? But adults debate the existence of evolution and climate change. The objective truth about both is as clear as the truth about why airplanes fly and why DNA transfers traits. Now, human progress depends upon objective truth. Unless you align your aspirations with the laws of the universe, you will fail. So seek objective truth. Your robot is a bundle of objective truth about physics and chemistry. Your team is a bundle of more subtle and complex truths about human behavior. Learn about both. They both include good stuff.
Thank you all. Thank you, Woody. So who was nominated for the WFFA and that's the Woodie Flowers Finalist Award, which is different than the Woodie Flowers Award. Each current FRC team can nominate a single mentor, and they get to choose which event that they're nominated at, which they're nominated at. So if you're a regional team, you get to choose which regional that your award winner, your nominee, will be judged with. And then if you're in the district, all of the district award winners get judged together for the championship, for one winner at each district championship. The mentor that's nominated, it's a gift from the student. So it's really, really important that you nominate one of your mentors. We want to see every single team nominate a mentor every year for the Woodie Flower Finalist Awards. So we can get as many of the awesome mentors that exist in our community nominated and recognized at as many events as possible.
And real quick, Alan, just to break in, to sort of expand on that, I was nominated by my team this year, and just getting the opportunity to know that my students cared in that respect and see what they had to write about me was more important than possibly winning any other award that I've won so far. So you're totally right when you say that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Every time knowing that the students are willing to put in the effort to nominate is such a huge honor by the mentors. Like, we put in a ton of time, but that time knowing that it's recognized by the students is a huge deal.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then students must nominate their mentor by the designated deadline every year. That date in February, you have to get in your nomination. We'll talk a few more details about the actual nomination here in a second. But yeah, the biggest thing to take away is if your team is not nominating a mentor, please do so every year.
Mhm.
Agreed. So the WFA is the national. That's the that's what we call, the big award. That's the one that's given out at the championship. And there's two paths to this, and this is probably the most confusing thing, especially somebody that is new to FIRST, especially FRC. So if you win a finalist award that Alan was just talking about, you are automatically advanced, with a caveat, but you're automatically advanced to be considered for the WFA. Additionally, any team that has a current WFA from a previous season that has won, they are allowed to re-nominate that mentor to win the WFA. So they would write a separate essay just for that mentor. So some teams actually are putting out two essays, one of them for their new WFFA nominee and one for their current WFFA winner to be considered for the WFA. Now, I said there was a caveat. If you have that situation where you have both a nominee for the WFFA and a current WFFA, and your nominee also wins, you now on your team have two mentors that on paper qualify for the WFA. What we will do is reach out to that team. We're hoping to do something online with that when you do the nomination process. But right now we'll have to reach out to you and ask you which of those two mentors would you like to have considered? Because to be fair, we believe that only one team should be able to nominate for the WFA from their existing WFFAs. Hopefully that makes sense.
Hey, real quick, Stokely, just to
Yes.
just to clarify here, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure everybody else who's watching knows. You said we. Does that mean that you all are the ones that decide this and select the next winners for the awards?
Yeah, one of the secrets of the WFA is they don't tell you how much work it is. They really don't.
So yes, to answer your question, Francis, all of the previous WFA winners at the championship level are the judges for the WFFA and the WFA.
Okay.
And it is super confidential which events we judge. We keep that very tight.
And often we will reach out to each other because honestly, there are so many good mentors nominated that it's sometimes we're splitting hairs. So we reach out to each other all the time and ask them to reread these 2 essays, these 4 essays, and get somebody else's opinion.
Wow.
But Andy's right. We don't really publicize who's doing what.
Yeah. Just to get an idea, what order of magnitude are we looking at for number of essays that are submitted every year?
I can't.
It's over 1,000.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, I know it's over 1,000. We just did the numbers last year but it's over 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Very good.
Yeah.
And ideally, we want more, right? We would love to say that it's whatever number of teams there are, right?
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
Alrighty. Excellent. Well, guys, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead and continue, guys.
Not at all.
Are you done with your part, Eric?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so why should teams nominate? Well, just like Woody and Dean always said, it's not about the robot. So if you look at the interactions that you have on your team, I mean, that's the thing that really sticks with you after the season's gone and after you leave. So some of the things that we want the students to be able to recognize is what makes a good mentor. And the idea being that hopefully in the future, they adopt some of that and want to become mentors as well. Because it's this in reaction of building more mentors in our society that I think is the main focus of the whole award system. So some of the things that we want to bring attention to are having the kids learn how to recognize what is a good mentor. So by nominating, they have to go through this process. They then learn how to identify what are the things that make a good mentor. And in doing so, that maybe hopefully internalizes in them, what they need to do if they want to mentor. Also celebrating powerful communication skills, because if they can remember the time that a mentor inspired them, they can see how and remember how that felt. And then hopefully try to instill that in other people. But being able to describe it on paper is important. The actual essay itself is a skill that we think that is great for teams to go through. It kind of helps you reflect on the dynamics of your team. And maybe that can help improve situation as well. Also celebrating people that challenge us to take on society's biggest problems. So if you see someone doing something, especially in this time of the coronavirus, that is inspiring and how they're maybe making a change in the community, those are one of the other things that we want to see if there's recognition by the students to show how their mentor is effective in making a difference out in the immediate community, or maybe even further out from where their immediate community is, maybe the broader community. And then, of course, celebrating the concept of gracious professionalism and cooperation. I mean, there's times when teams are under a lot of stress and they're looking to their mentor to see how they react to a situation, whether it's maybe a bad call by the referee or maybe a perceived bad call by the referee. It's important to see how they deal with these situations in an adult, mature, graciously professional way. So these are all the reasons why we think a team should nominate for the Woodie Flowers Award. And we think, like Allen was saying, we hopefully are increasing our numbers. So by everybody writing, we'll have enough people to judge the essay.
And if I may, Fredi, to tag onto that, is that it's an honor. And this was mentioned earlier, it's an honor. And so every team should exercise their right and honor someone on that team so that they get that feeling of not necessarily the recognition, but that your good work and your hard work has been identified and recognized by kids. And I think that that's super important. Every team should at least nominate one person because it's so important each year for that recognition.
And as Woody said, we get what we celebrate.
Absolutely.
So this is maybe this is a really challenging question to answer, but I'll ask it anyway. I know that like when I was in high school, I had a lot of really great mentors, and I really, enjoyed spending time with all of them, and they all taught me a lot. How do you think that picking one out of perhaps the several that your team may have is an easy thing that students can figure out generally, or is it like really, really hard? And if so, do you have any guidance on how you can pick that, or maybe a process that the students on a team can go through to select a nominee? I know that's a bit of a big one, but
On our team, I just put them in a room with no adults and have them just. I said, you're going to come out of this room with a mentor that you're going to nominate. You guys need to share your feelings, and you need to have a good, solid debate about this. You need to read the rules that we put in the documentation for FRC rules. Read those rules, look at what the criteria is of the award, and really, I think it should be fully up to the students about who they pick. Sometimes I scratch my head. It's like, wow, okay, that person. But they said, well, here's why. As long as they're convicted about it and they're passionate about why they picked, I'm okay with it. So I don't really have any set way for them to follow a certain set of rules. I say just because every team's different. Every group every year on our team is different. So they got to handle that on their own, I think.
Yeah, and if you're on a team that isn't currently nominating, and if you're a student, take it on yourself and choose a mentor and write the essay, even if you have to do it alone, getting that ball rolling. And if there's a mentor who's impacted you specifically, that's a great way to get it started and at least get the tradition of writing the essay going for your team.
And Andy, I want to piggyback. Our team, we do the same thing. I tell the captains that they need to head this up and take care of it. Our students are funny this year because all the mentors required resumes of all the students, especially the younger students, so we could see. The mentors don't know what the students do, so they wanted to get resumes so they knew who to choose for the dean's list.
Right.
So the students turned around and said to the mentors, I want a resume from you. So the mentors that turned the resumes in were the ones that they even looked at, which I thought was funny. So, and they don't have time. They really don't have time, but I knew who they wanted. And so I really kind of encouraged that. But what the students found out by doing the resumes is they found out all the other things that the mentors did that they didn't know about. And the students just sat back, and it was kind of a wow moment for our kids to say, they didn't know that some of them, were volunteers at other tournaments, and they didn't know that because they didn't see them that weekend, but they didn't know where they were.
Right.
So I think that that's kind of a cool thing to do. But, Andy, like you said, I never know from year to year when they walk out of that room. I don't know. And I will support them in any way, but I just tell them it's not a popularity contest. Look at the whole picture and have a good debate about who you want and why you want them and what this is all about. So yeah, thank you.
I'm going to advance to the next slide.
Cool.
And talk about the essay. So, what should be focused on in the essay? And that's not easy because it's a pretty concise essay. You don't have a lot of room to put a lot of words. So, obviously, the accomplishments in communication by the mentor, not just accomplishments, but their accomplishments and their communication methods and how they communicate. And it really does show the student's ability of how to communicate clearly about their mentor. So we do take seriously the quality of the essay. So even though we don't really have a strict rubric, we are concerned when we read these essays, the level of student participation on the team, the creativity of their effort. If it's really boring, that's one thing. If it's really creative, that gets it's exciting to see creativity in writing. It's an art, really. How they clearly explain the concepts that the mentor is communicating to them, or give us examples of how that mentor communicates effectively the engineering or science or math, and then how that mentor can show enthusiasm for the technology, science, and engineering behind what they're doing. how the team works as a team, how they get through issues and resolve issues. Those are stories we like to hear. How we know that teams all deal with problems and deal with issues, and how that mentor leads a team through that issue. That's a good story to hear. We don't want to hear that everything is rosy and perfect, because no team has that situation. So just how that team is motivated through their example of their mentor and the impact of that mentor on that team. The better they can tell that story to us, the better the essay, the better the chance for that mentor to win.
Here I go again. Every time you guys talk, I get all excited about it. When you write the essay, write it and then walk away from it and then come back to it. And the reason I say that is because if you let a few days go and you come back to it, you'd be amazed at how you can improve on it. And so I'm going to say, when you're writing your essay, Andy talked about what should be focused in the essay, but I also want to mention, when you come back the second time to look at it, think about the passion. If you can write with passion, you suck me in right away. The minute I fall in love with this mentor, if you can write with great passion and then have all these elements in it. And so walk away from it and then come back and say, how can you clean it up? Can you clean up some words that you don't need and put better words in that are going to draw the readers into your essay? And I'll tell you, when I read it and then I say afterwards, I want to meet that mentor, then you're writing a great essay.
Yeah. Can I ask a real quick question? So in the sort of the points you laid out a moment ago, part of that was, clearly communicate concepts of math, science, and engineering concepts, right? So does that exclude mentors who maybe aren't part of the engineering group, right? Does that or is part of the award focusing on that core concept of first?
I don't think it excludes it, but it makes sure it's a priority. For instance, if you have a team dad or a team mom or a Nemo type mentor who is a really good candidate to win this award, it's because they led the team, they went through issues on the team, and they also, this is the important part, they also facilitated the STEM aspects so that the kids can have access to those things. Maybe not themselves, but they did something like Fredi did this really, really well on 842 and on a lot of his outreach. I mean, Fredi does a really good job of introducing his students to experts in his community. While Fredi's a darn good expert himself, he made sure that other people in his community come in and teach his kids what they're really good at. So the facilitation of that science and engineering, maybe they don't do it themselves, but they encourage it and the kids know it.
Okay.
And that's a great example, Andy, because I'm not an engineer. And when I won it, my husband is my lead engineer on the team, and I will bring anybody. I've even called Andy before and said, "Hey, Andy, can you explain this?" I'll get just about anybody to talk to my kids and open opportunities for my kids in STEM. Now, granted, I'm a math teacher, but I didn't fit that engineering capacity in this. And so I used to wonder the same thing. How did I ever win this?
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys talking about that.
So I think this is our last slide, and we have some more stuff here. I think there's a few, we want to kind of hit this, talk about these topics maybe as a group, but I think we want to take about 5 minutes to do this. So anybody want to start on this more stuff slide?
Sure, I will. Keep in mind, this has got to be done by students. It's part of the conditions of the award, and we feel pretty strongly about that. You'd be surprised the number of rumors we hear in an average year about, well, so-and-so didn't actually write that almost always unfounded, by the way, but we want the student to show their communication skills that they have learned, basically. I mean, they will be a reflection of that mentor that they're trying to celebrate. But that being said, you should by all means find that English teacher, have them proofread it, have another mentor. I mean, depending on how you do it on the team, many teams, my past teams included, didn't want the mentors to know who was nominated. So they would, they wouldn't want to reach out to any of the adults on the team. But these are students. There's English teachers. There are other professionals they can go to and ask them to proofread it. Basically, is what we're saying making sense?
So you got to watch your character count. We have a cap right now of 3,000 characters. That includes space, and that's hard. So we wrote a Woodie Flowers Award, and a few of us got involved with that, and it was hard because he tragically passed away, and nobody ever wrote Woodie Flowers nomination for Woodie Flowers. So we did that, and it was tough to do. It's like, this is kind of hard. I think Allen said one piece of advice. I'm not going to steal it from him. So Allen, what was your?
Yeah. So don't wait until the last day to submit. I mean, so the first IT system for submitting the essays has definitely gotten better over the years, but you still should absolutely make sure a couple of days beforehand that you have everything set up to where your student has somebody assigned to be an award submitter. You have gone through and actually pasted it in and seen that it hits 3,000 characters on the actual website. There's so many little things that pop up. So if you wait till the last day, you're asking for trouble. So just get it in ahead of time. You have so much time to do this. There's no reason you can't write this essay in the fall. Like, it doesn't have to be something you're doing in the middle of build season. There's no reason to wait till the last day.
We want pictures. We would like pictures submitted with the essay. We really want a solo headshot so that we can, like, especially this year when we're announcing winners virtually, we want to show a picture of that person. So give us a headshot or a solo picture. Giving us a picture with a big group, we don't know who that person is. So that's a key thing.
Mm-hmm. And make sure that you check what the accomplishments of your mentors. As I mentioned earlier, the mentor resume was really helpful for us because the students didn't know. But find out, start talking to your mentors, find out what they do when they're not with you, so that they can find out a little bit more about you and your accomplishments in FIRST and in robotics, in STEM. But then also, as I mentioned earlier, present a story that really tells the reader, capture the reader on a story about your mentor. Sometimes the more creative, it just draws my attention to them. And there's some mentors that I cannot wait to meet after reading the essays from the students. And so, as Andy was saying, and as Allen was saying, don't be late. Watch your character count, but write it maybe and step away and then come back, because it's always going to be better.
And just to jump on the last thing there, where it talks about we don't have a rubric. And one of the reasons is because we're hoping that each team has their own way of telling their story. And if we put a rubric, then people are going to be trying to check off the boxes. Mm-hmm. And so by leaving it more open-ended, it gives us the ability to look at the different types of ways that people are communicating. And ultimately, it's the meat and potatoes of the essay is, how does the mentor communicate and impact the students? And it should always be a compelling story. So, just making a list of all the things that the mentor has done, while that may be impressive in one level, that in itself is not a story of impact. That's just the statistic. And those are important. But to rely on those as justification for a decision for whether or not they should be a Woodie Flowers Award winner is not enough. It's more of the human side that needs to be emphasized, and that should be paid attention to.
And Fredi, I call that the resume. When I read it and all they do is list all the accomplishments, I read that as a resume. I don't read that as an intriguing story of the mentor.
Well, hey guys, let's finish here, and maybe Francis has some questions for us.
Yeah. So, hey, thank you guys for talking about that and giving some background, some explanation about the Woodie Flowers Award for everybody. I think people learned a lot from what you guys presented, and so with that said, we're gonna get into questions. If you've got questions for these folks here, send them into the chat with the command !Q followed by your question. We'll pull it out of the chat and we'll put it up here for these guys to discuss. All right, so first off, we got a question coming in. This is from a user named well, you guys always love giving me weird usernames. Trevor Knight. They're asking, what advice do you have for a young mentor that aspires to win the award, or I guess what maybe a more different way of putting it is what behavior should one emulate to sort of be in that vein?
Be like Andy Baker.
There you go.
I was going to say be like Fredi, but okay.
So this was my first year being a part of this and judging, and one of the biggest common threads I saw through some of the best essays I read and a lot of the people who won was that all of the mentors care deeply about the students and they're passionate about what they're doing. And if you have those two things, you can figure out a way, and whatever skills and abilities you have and whatever resources and situation you're in, you can figure out a way to do something that's awesome with the students. That's what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough question. So I don't know if there's one answer. I think if you treat the students with respect,
Mm-hmm.
they'll treat you with respect.
Mm.
And if you work hard, they'll notice it. And if you take that to the nth degree and really show them respect you can for the team and them, then hopefully they'll pick you as their nomination. And past that, like I said, that like we've said, that's an award in itself. So that should people are very happy to be nominated by their students. So I can see why you would want to do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So go ahead. You want to say something, Kyle? Or
I was just going to say, as Andy said, if you have passion for what you're doing, if you love the kids, and you're like the Pied Piper. They'll follow you anywhere. If they believe in you, they'll follow you anywhere. Yep. And so you need to respect them as they respect you. And it's just, that's actually honestly why I'm having the hardest time with this whole COVID thing, is because I'm home and I miss my kids. I miss my students, and I miss being in a room with them, not on a computer with them. But you build that relationship with the students, and you build these small humans and you help to guide them and you help grow them. And it's just an amazing thing. And they respect that, and they want to, if you're that person that can do those creative, wonderful things, then I think that's the, Alan, what's so funny?
Sorry, my upstairs neighbor just started blasting music.
No, but Kyle, I think that I think a lot of mentors feel the same way right now, especially with everybody having to separate themselves from everybody else for now. So you're in good company. Don't worry about that.
It was so abrupt. I mean, it was just in our situation. We were at the school on a Thursday night, hanging out, playing, practice driving, just messing around, and on Friday morning, no one has seen each other since. And so it's so abrupt.
My not to get too deep into the weeds, but my team, we took our whole collector and ball organization mechanism off of our robot one night on a Wednesday. And then we were like, all right, well, the season got canceled today. We'll get ready for Battle Cry. And then we took it off, and then it's still literally everything is still sitting on the table in our lab. All the tools and everything, right? So anyway, happier things. Let's talk about happier, fun things. So this question, we got another one here. Is judging done solely by the content of the essay? Do you consider what you know about people or investigate further when determining winners?
So I think, go ahead, Andy.
No, that's a great question, but we are supposed to just look at the essay. We're supposed to just read that essay, and that's what really drives what we decide on the award. At the same time, you can't turn off half your brain. If I know that person lost their cool and did some things that was really bad over the last couple of years, and it's a great essay, I'm like, that's crazy. I know who this person is. I know they've they're not quite ready yet to be awarded this because they've lost their cool and they did a jerky thing or whatever. On the other hand, you might know they're a great person. So yeah, it's tough to turn off your brain and just look at the essay.
Which again is one of the reasons we will have other people read these essays. We're assigned particular essays to read, and then sometimes you just got to reach out and go, well, maybe I need more information on this. I need somebody else to read this without the eyes I'm using right now. Because like Andy says, the longer you do this, the more you start seeing the same, you start knowing these people. You meet them at championships, you meet them at events. And it's not a surprise that you start knowing the names that these kids are starting to nominate.
And always more than one person is reading every essay as well. So it's not just like one individual has an opinion or something. That doesn't work that way.
Right, we're in teams.
Okay.
We're in teams.
Cool. All right. So another question here. This question's actually my question. How much does spelling or grammar figure in a winning essay? Can an essay with proofreading errors but a great story or mentor overcome them? Like
I'll tell you right now, if I have two essays and I'm trying to decide between those two, the one that does not have any grammar or errors in it is going to be the one that wins.
Okay.
Because it's about clearly, concisely articulating about the mentor. And so we tell them proofread. I had issues just recently with spaces after periods because there should have been a space after the period. And it was an amazing essay. And I had to wait and hear what other mentors or what the other judges had to say because it was a great story, but it really needed some proofreading.
Yeah.
To jump in too, some of these.
Go ahead.
Some of the essays, you're reading from people that are writing in English as their second language. So it's not like we sit there and hammer them if they don't have it. If we know that's a factor, we balance that in the decision-making process.
Okay. And I guess that also leads to a question I didn't think about. Do all Woodie Flowers Award submissions have to be English? Or, like there are teams in other countries. Are they all English written essays?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Right now they are, yes.
Okay. Sweet.
Another thing to go along with that is it's surprising to see how many people who are passionate about Woodie Flowers, passionate about their mentor, but they can't spell Woodie's name right.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
Oh, no.
There's no Y in Woodie.
Oh, dear.
Do your homework.
Yes.
Not that hard.
Know what the award is named. Yeah.
So the reason that I put this question up and I asked it is because when I submitted an essay for my mentor back in the day when I was in high school, my essay had several issues with respect to spelling and grammar, and I was told that maybe I should make a little more effort to clean that up. And so the person after me did that to the essay, cleaned it up, and they ended up winning. So, which is good. I was very happy to hear that. But anyway, we have some more questions coming in. Again, if you've got them, send them into the chat with !Q. We'll have these folks talk about it. Next question: what traits from WFA winners should young mentors look into emulating? And this is from Focus Baton is the username. They asked this.
A sense of humor.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
If you can't approach first with the ability to laugh at yourself, I'm not really sure you're going to make it. Everybody is going to make mistakes.
I think also realizing that you are making an impact and you can see it, and you have to it's like one of those things that you kind of accept that responsibility. You know that people are watching and they're going to judge you based on what you do. And so you have to, kind of like what Woodie and Dean used to always say, is you need to act like your grandmother's watching everything you're doing. So I would say that one of the aspects is understanding your role and living up to that responsibility.
Yeah, that's actually a really perfectly way to say it.
Yeah.
Live up to what you would expect from a good mentor, because you have it. I mean, and look at that. We've got a great example with Woodie. Just live up to the example that, look at your great mentors in your area, talk to them,
True.
Find out how they do things, and realize, oh, that's what makes them a great mentor.
All right.
Self-sacrificing.
any one of us at any time and develop a relationship as well and find out who are these people and why did they win? What do they do that helped them win?
Yeah. Andy,
Because trust me, we got a diverse group here.
Andy, you were going to say something as well, I think.
Yeah, I think if I look at my friends and family who are on the championship Woodie Flowers Award group, every single one of them has a story to tell about how they're self-sacrificing. And they're also very humble, so they won't tell that story very easily. But like Kyle today had to drive into work, do a video for First in Michigan, and to hustle back home to get this thing. So I was kind of talking about Kyle. So, hey, you don't have to be here on this call at 3:00 because there's 4 of us on this. We can handle it, Kyle. He's like, no, Andy, I got to be there. I can do these things. I'll be there when I'm supposed to be there. I was like, okay, all right, that's cool. So, see, that's a little bit, but each person who's a championship Woodie Flowers Award winner, or many who are Woodie Flowers Finalist Award winners, are very self-sacrificing individuals.
Cool. All right, so we're going to do just a couple more questions before we end for the afternoon here. So this question comes to us from Colleen190, and they're asking, why are districts who used to award 4 or more Woodie Flowers finalists as a regional, why are they back? Why do they have 1 at this point? And I guess the follow-up is that intended to just reduce the number of finalists, or what's the concept behind it?
Andy.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll take on this.
Go ahead, Andy.
You're the one that dragged us here, Andy, so you better answer it.
Okay, so when districts started in Michigan, was the first district area, we didn't really know what to expect, but we knew that districts were coming, and we knew that we're going to set a precedent with regard to how we choose a Woodie Flowers Award winner in a district. And at the same time, we all, to this day, love and respect Dr. William Murphy. And he helped found First. He helped found this award. And he had an extremely strong opinion. There should only be one. There should only be one at the district championship level. There should be only one at the world championship. So while we all don't agree wholeheartedly on that, there is dissension within the ranks. We discuss this every year. Not only the world championship, singular or multiple, but also district championships. We discuss this every year, and it's a healthy debate. It's not changing anytime soon, but it's not all put to bed either. So the intent of this award at the district championship is we want to make it a prestigious award. We want to give tons of recognition to all the nominations at each of the district events and make a big deal out of every nominated mentor, but then have one super celebrated winner at the district championship.
Okay, cool. All right, I think that go ahead. I think Stokely, were you going to say something, I think?
Well, I just backing up Andy on that. I mean, I've only been doing this for a few years, but it is a topic we have meetings throughout the year, and it is a topic on that agenda. And it's not an easy question. And this was decided outside of First New Hampshire, where they were, deciding how many chairmans and engineering inspirations were going. This is, the Woodie Flowers group is unique in that we're the ones sort of, deciding this with the assistance from New Hampshire.
Okay. Cool. I think that a lot of people in regions, districts miss the ability to sort of have their mentors, win this award. But I think you've done a good job explaining your reasoning behind it, and I think everybody's going to be very happy to hear that you guys think about this a lot, because we don't get to hear from you guys except basically once or twice a year at the championship. So I'm glad you guys were able to clarify stuff like that. We're going to do one last question here. This is from user MKMJB, and they're asking, beyond the Woodie Flowers Award, what are the best ways to show appreciation for your mentor's hard work?
Oh,
Say
there's
thank
so many ways. You know, on our team, the students periodically will drop cards. They different students at different times will have cards, and they write to the mentors just thank you notes, just saying thanks for what you've done for me. You know, I think that is a huge thing. I tell the kids all the time that, you know, those little acts of kindness go a long, long way. And so I think for my team, it's just that little thank you card. And I know that there's some mentors that have created boxes, because my mentors, I love them. They don't, I'm not going to say this, but they usually don't leave. So they're still with me. So they have a box, and I don't want to say that because I don't want to see them leave, but they have a box and they put their cards in every year. And, you know, when they sit and question, why am I doing this? This is so hard. This is so time intensive. They pull that box out and they read these notes that the kids have written that say, thank you. You've changed my life. You've changed my world. To me, that is a wonderful thing to do for mentors.
A simple thank you will go a lot further than you realize. Take
Mhm.
that moment, especially like when you're packing up a pit, you know, take that moment, talk to your mentor, say, hey, you got a second? And they'll immediately think, oh, great, now what's wrong? and walk over and say, hey, I just want to say thank you for putting up with us and doing what you do. It goes a long way. It truly, truly does.
I'm very, very simple. I think you just give me a cup of coffee and I'm good.
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, that's a you know, even just it's not to sound cliche, but it's the thought that counts, right? And to just just to think about somebody like that, right? Alan, what were you saying?
On Spectrum, we normally have a yearly banquet, and one of the things that we've done most seasons is we have seniors go up and kind of talk about their experience on the team, and they normally take that time to thank the mentors as well during that speech to the whole team, and kind of explaining to the underclassmen what the experience on Spectrum has meant to them and things like that.
Oh, cool. All righty. Well, hey guys, not just guys, everybody, thank you all so much. I apologize. I'm trying to fix that, but
Okay.
it's yes, folks. Everybody, thank you all so much for being here. Alan, Andy, Fredi, Eric, and Kyle. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys took the time out of your busy days here to spend time with us and answer some questions from some folks in the chat. So for everybody who's watching now, we're going to be back in just a few minutes with another presentation. Coming up next, we've got Marcus Bernstein. He's going to be talking about using Onshape with your team and to design your robot in FRC. It's a very cool tool. I highly suggest you all stick around for that. And of course, at 6 o'clock tonight, we've got our presentation from a bunch of folks, including Alan, who will be there, talking about what the end of bag day has meant for their team and what that's probably going to look like. So I encourage you all to tune in for that. But one last big thank you to all of you for being here. We couldn't have done it without you. And everybody who's watching, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Francis.
Thank you.
Sir.